Hello, everybody. Welcome to Renegade Con. I'm Elisa Teague. I'm here with Katie Schmidt, and today we are going to be making a level 1 Transformers character for the Transformers Roleplaying Game. This is an early peek at character creation for Transformers, and I'm so excited to do this with you, Katie. How are you?
I'm excited too. I'm really excited to jump into a sneak peek at creating a character in this amazing Transformers role-playing game.
Yeah, I'm not sure if everybody knows, but you're the producer behind all the videos that we've been doing so far for the character creation that we've been doing for Power Rangers. So you've gotten to watch behind the scenes as we've been making these other characters. But today is your day to create your own character. So I'm really excited to see what you've come up with. So we're going to jump right in, and we're going to start off with the first step of character creation, which is, what is your character concept? When you envision your Transformers character, who is this bot?
So I did think about this a little bit, and I wrote down some notes. So kind of the basic outline is she is a bit of a troublemaker. So she has trouble following orders, tends to jump the gun when faced in many different situations. She has good intuition and is a good fighter, but fails to evaluate situations and tends to really just jump in on just a dime. And
super impulsive then.
Yes, very impulsive, but she will stand up for any of her friends or anyone she looks up to.
All right. I like it. Okay, so when we are, so that will cover probably, what our influence choice would be, because your influence is kind of like, in Transformers, it's not always your personality, but it's what has happened in your life, basically, that has influenced you. And so a lot of those choices will fall in line with that. But when we're talking about, what you look like, have you thought about what you would want your character to look like, what you would want to have, as your alt mode? We're going to talk a little bit about what an alt mode is. I guess we could talk about it. In Transformers, your origin choice is going to affect your chassis. I mean, it affects your bot mode as well, but it also affects your chassis, which is basically your alt mode, what you look like when you are in disguise on Earth. So, Transformers came here. Almost all Transformers were not made or born here on Earth. They came here from whichever planet, because there are more than just Cybertron. And then, they had to be, robots in disguise, as the song says. So what do you think your disguise would be, your alt mode?
I think because she's very impulsive, I definitely think there's going to be red color mixed into her. But for my alt mode, for her, I think she would be a motorcycle form.
Okay. All right, a motorcycle form. All right, I'm asking you all of these questions so that we can go through and pick out all of these things for you. So I think I've got a good concept idea of what you're looking for. So we'll move on to step 2. Now, this is going to throw some of the people who've been watching Power Rangers for a loop, but we're going to try and do this the other way. A lot of people who've been watching the Power Rangers character creation video have asked after the fact, why is it that we are making all of the character creation choices of origins and influence and roles first before using the essence score spread that every character is given and filling out all of those essence scores and related skill ranks? Why do we do that way? And I've been saying over and over again, it's really player choice. It's what you're most comfortable with.
Right.
I personally really like to make my character choices first and then see what those give me, and then use those extra 12 essence score points to fill in the rest and kind of balance out what I want. But some people want to choose that spread first and then make their character creation choices. In Transformers, the Transformers Roleplaying Game core rulebook, we're actually presenting it to you in this new way. Because it seemed like it was clearer for people to get their spread first But I want to reassure everybody out there that if you're used to now doing it the other way because of Power Rangers, it really doesn't matter. In fact, at the end, you might want to adjust here and there, and as long as you keep your skill ranks that are associated with those essence points in the same column, it doesn't matter if you move them around afterwards. So just to refresh everybody's memories, or if this is your very first time watching one of these character creation videos, in Essence 20, every character is going to start with 12 blank-free essence points that they can put throughout their essence scores, which are strength, speed, smarts, and social. And then, on top of that, your origin choices and your role choices will give you extra essence points. And at first level, that will always be a total of 16 points. So 12 plus another 4 that you get from your character choices. So we're going to do that now, which I know is the opposite way, but I want to show everybody how it works if you do that first.
Okay.
So you have 12 points to spend across your strength, speed, smarts, and social essences. Now, we do recommend a spread, just for balance, of 4, 3, 3, and 2, but you don't have to do that. Really, the only rules with assigning these scores is each one has to have at least 1 point, and you can never go above 15, and that's in the rule book.
Gotcha.
We're not going to get to 15 right now, that's for sure, because we only have 16 to spend at first level. So, where would you like to put it? Now, thinking about your character, you said you're impulsive and you rush in, and so I'm thinking it's more like a speedy type character. But
yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards more of the strength and speed.
Okay.
For sure. Less smarts and social for her, I think.
And they don't like to follow directions. They don't like, so maybe they're not very social.
Right.
So that makes sense. That really does. And so you should be looking at that right now. And you'll see right in the middle, you have your strength, speed, smarts, and social essence scores there. And so you can fill that out. I recommend filling that out with a pencil because the scores will change once you make your character creation choices. Or if you're using the form fillable PDF, which you are,
yes.
Then you can just fill it right in, and then when you make those changes, it's very easy. So what are you thinking for strength? Now remember, your strength is your physical power and your endurance and how strong you are if you're hitting somebody with might, a might weapon, if you're doing some sort of a ramming type of attack, which I don't think you would be doing if you're a motorcycle.
Right.
But you could.
I think I want to go for, I'm going to keep in the 4, 3, 3, 2 recommendation. I'm going to put a 3 in strength.
I think that's great.
Because I'm thinking I want the 4 in speed.
I think that's a wise choice.
I think that would be more fitting. And then, maybe a 3 in smart, 2 social?
That's up to you. So smarts is your awareness. So how well you can spot things, your actual, perception can be a specialization under your alertness. And so I think that is really good. It's also your mental acuity, what your intuition is, how much you know about things. So smart is pretty important. Social is your confidence, your poise, your charisma, your leadership. But again, you were saying that you don't really care about those types of things.
I don't think that's, I think that's going to be a good fit for her.
Yeah, and remember, you can always change it. So she can, if you feel like at the end, oh no, I really wish I would have put the extra one in social and not smarts, you can always flip it. Just make sure to move that skill rank over as well.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now we have all of these essence scores filled in. And what do? Every single time we make essence score choices,
we get to pick
skill ranks, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So we want to always make them match. And we want to do this in this order, not save it up to the end, only so we can double check our work all the way through. If you really, really want to save it to the end, you can. but I like this step-by-step process. So let's start over in the strength column.
Mm-hmm.
So we have associated skills with strength, right? And so we have, our athletics, our brawn, conditioning, intimidation, and might. Now, remember that the conditioning is what adds to our health.
Right.
So that's how many hits you can take, which is pretty important. But your might is important if you're going in for a fight. That's pretty important in melee. You can use might or finesse in melee, but your finesse is coming from your speed, and you do have some speed, but at first level, you only have so much to spend. So where would you like to spend those?
I definitely want one in conditioning. For sure. I want one in might.
So you spent 2 out of your 3.
And then I'm thinking athletics.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good choice. Okay, so you have 3 strength essence.
Yes.
You're taking those 3 points and you're turning them into 3 skill ranks. And you've chosen athletics, you've chosen conditioning, and you've chosen might. And those are all now at the D2 skill rank. So what does that mean? Whenever you're making, for example, a might attack, you're going to roll your D20 plus your D2 because that's your skill rank in might. And you would add those together, and that is your total to try to beat, the Decepticons' toughness if you're, punching them in the face. I say punching in the face a lot. I might have a thing about punching in the face. Okay, so now let's move over to speed.
Okay.
So now your speed is stuff like your acrobatics, your driving, which is pretty important. Your finesse, which is another type of melee attack that is also good for other things as well. Infiltration, which is you're sneaking into places. Your initiative, which is important in combat. Your initiative means if you're ranking of who goes first in combat. So once a combat round starts, everybody rolls for their initiative, and whoever has the highest roll for that, the highest total for initiative, will go first. It's not really a competition with your teammates, but it is definitely something that you want to go high for, so that you're rolling higher than any of the threats that are in the combat with you. So you want to go first before they do. And then also targeting. So targeting is really important if you are a character that is going to be using a weapon that shoots from afar, like a laser gun or something like that. And it's also good for just hitting things with other things, like, I don't know, baseballs or pine cones or splitters, anything. So where would you like to spend those 4?
I think I'm going to be a little bold, and I'm going to put 2 points in initiative.
That sounds like your character.
I think so.
Yeah, rushing in. Of course. That's
Maybe not caring about how well the hit is, but definitely going to get the first go.
I love it. I love it. It's perfect.
I also definitely want at least one in driving. And then I'm leaning my last point for either acrobatics or another in driving, perhaps.
I think that, so driving's a little bit different in Transformers, but I think your D2 as a level 1 character is really good.
Okay.
For driving, I would put it in, I don't know, if you really want to go, gung-ho with the initiative, because you really are that, Leroy Jenkins type character that you're just going to go in and not care what the plan is. You can definitely do that. But something like targeting is really cool, but also finesse in case, I don't know where, and this is why I do like to make the other choices first, because I don't know what kind of a fighting style you're going to have. Right?
Gotcha.
So if you're going to have a fighting style that makes you want to shoot from afar, then you would want to choose targeting. If you're going to have a fighting style that brings you into like melee combat, you might want to have finesse unless you're using your might.
Okay.
And so it really depends. You do have that ranking in might already. So I don't know. also, acrobatics is pretty cool, especially if you're like a fast, motorcycle. If you weave in and out of things.
Yeah.
The master might say, "Oh, you want to like weave through all of this traffic? Make an acrobatics check."
Okay. I think that sounds right.
That's the skill test I would call for more than just like your normal driving, because almost all Transformers characters can drive, right?
Right.
And so I don't know what to tell you. It's your character.
I think acrobatics sounds like a good fit, because I think that's why she's a motorcycle, is she wants to be really fast and be able to do the maneuvers maybe the bigger alt modes can't do.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna want to do stuff like I'm going up this ramp and like flipping over, and then changing modes, like you're converting, shooting, and then changing back, like that's
exactly
so cinematic, and I love it. But it's definitely acrobatics, right?
Yep.
In the middle of all of that. So, and honestly, if you successfully maneuvered all of that, I would totally get swayed for that. The game master is amazing. But yeah, okay, so cool. All right. So we had 4 essence for speed, right? And now we have 4 bubbles filled in.
Correct.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Speed is done. Let's move on to smarts. So, what does your character know about, or what do you want them to have in the smarts category? Again, alertness is pretty important for all characters. That's really just basically, your physical proximity awareness of what is going on around you. Do you spot that the enemy is coming over the horizon at all?
Right.
Or are you going to be surprised? So that's pretty important. As far as other stuff, culture and science and technology and things like that, I don't know if that's really in your character's wheelhouse or not.
I think, just going off that, for sure, again, I think I want to be a little bit more bold and have 2 in alertness.
I love that. You can even, you can take a specialization as well under there's a specific thing, like if you want to be really good at spotting things, like perception, or really good at hearing things, you can take a specialization rank. And what that means is, instead of spending one of these essence points on a normal skill rank, you take specialization underneath it. You'll see that there are lines underneath each skill. You fill out that bubble, you write in what your specialization is, and when your specialization comes into play, when you roll that d20 and then your skill dice, instead of, for example, if your alertness is now a d4, instead of rolling the d20 and d4 and adding that together for your total, you roll the d20, and then you roll the d4 and the d2. So everything, your skill rank and below, you pick the highest number from all of those dice and add it to your d20, and that's your total. At the lower skill ranks, it may not seem like it makes that much of a big deal, but it really, really does. You can definitely roll a 1 on that d4, but a 2 on the d2, and it's different.
Yep.
And then critical successes in the Essence 20 system are determined by those skill rank dice. And if you roll the highest number on your skill rank dice, aside from the d2, which doesn't count. But so if you get up to like a d6 or d8 and you're rolling a specialization, if you roll the 8 on the d8 or the 6 on the d6 or the 4 on the d4, that's the critical success. And so you have a lot more chances when you're specialized to have that crit, which is really fun. So that's an option for you right now. Not a whole lot of people take specializations at level 1, but you definitely can, especially if you're like, again, putting all your marbles in this basket, the alertness basket.
Right. I feel like I want to think more about specialization, so I think I will spend my last point in culture.
Okay. That's it.
For now.
That's general culture, and again, later on, if you want to specialize in that, you pick specific knowledges that you know, and put those as your specializations. But right now, if it's just something where you need to know the general information about the area. Your game master is going to ask you to roll a culture skill test, and it's really good to have a ranking in more than one thing.
Right.
Because the only problem with like doing that whole on putting all the marbles in one is that when you leave things untrained, you're actually rolling those skill tests with a snap, which means, for example, if you did take the culture and you needed to roll, your game master would say, okay, roll a snag is you roll 2 d20s and you take the lower amount because you're not trained at all. So that d2 is actually quite a big bump up. So, okay, cool. So we have 3 bubbles filled. 2 in
1, 2, 3. Yes.
1 in culture, and that's our 3 smarts. So now we'll move on to social. Now you only have 2 here. Social is, again, like, it covers animal handling, how well you do with animals. People might think it doesn't come with Transformers, but it does. Your deception, how well do you lie to people? Your performance. Are you a singer? Are you a dancer? Are you... there are all sorts of different things for performance. We haven't chosen all of your stuff yet.
Right.
You want to think about what you're going to be. Persuasion, how well do you convince people of things? Not in the lying sense like deception, but, how much of a motivator are you? And streetwise is always cool because it's how well you do, in street social stuff. It's not book smarts, it's street smarts.
Right. So I have 2 points here, and I think I want 1 in performance and 1 in streetwise.
Okay, sounds good. Now, again, we can move these around later if we want to.
Right.
Once you make your character creation choices, which we are now getting to. I think we've done all of this stuff. So we've double checked that everything matches. Bubbles to numbers, they do. So step 3. This is another thing that Transformers does slightly differently than Power Rangers. It's the same system, the Essence 20 system, but we do recommend, because of the world that this takes place in and the way that Transformers characters are, that influences are a more natural thing to choose first before starting with your origin. So we're going to go to influence first today. It just makes a little bit more sense for Transformers. And so if you are used to doing origins first, you can. It's not that big of a deal. They all come together on one character sheet in the end. So it doesn't make a difference. But today we're going to do it the way it's presented in the book. And so we're going to do that. So let's think about your influences. There are a lot of different things to choose from. And I'm going to turn to that section of the book. This book is not in my hands today, everybody watching, so I can't tell you page numbers like I have in the past. But I am going to just go to chapter 3, influences. So if you're watching this along, once you do have this book in your hand, go to chapter 3, and we have the following as our influence choices. We have the bureaucrat, which doesn't really sound like you too much. We have the cube player, and the cube was a team sport that people played on Cybertron. So this is more of like a sports-like background. But you already said that you're not really a team player.
Yeah,
right?
Probably not.
I mean, we could hold that one in the back of our heads.
That might be a maybe.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
And remember, you can choose more than one influence, but then you get a hang-up if you do that. There's the experiment. So there's Cybertronian technology is a big thing. Obviously, we're all bots here. There's a lot of tech. But the experiment influence isn't really like the scientist that's making these things. You are the experiment. Which can come with some cool background stuff. Former senator doesn't seem to be on your line with what you were saying either. Gladiator, so you're like a champion of the arena fighting that went on Cybertron. hunter. So I don't know if that fits with you or not, but like maybe a person that was a hunter before, being recruited into. I'm assuming that you're joining a team of Autobots fighting the good fight.
Definitely.
There's inventor, which I think would probably be more like a smarts leaning character.
Yeah.
Machinist. I'm going to go through these a little faster because there are a lot of them. Ooh, this one sounds really good. A racer. Because racing is impulsive and fast.
Yeah, actually.
That sounds pretty cool. And then there are 3 more. There's scavenger, then security, and then war veteran. Well, I think a war veteran definitely would be taking orders, so probably not.
Probably, yeah. Out of all of those, I think racer would be a good fit for her personality. Yeah.
Let's see. So racer says, the Cybertronian that doesn't engage in racing is rare, but you take it to a whole new level. You engaged in the racing circuit, taking breakneck turns for pure pleasure and thriving off the thrill of leaving everyone in your dust. This does sound like you.
Yeah, that's definitely her.
Or you could be from Velocitron, one of the Cybertronian colonies renowned for its racing culture. I mean, that would be cool because that would give you, maybe a cool point to pick off of where you're from. Velocitrons are known for their extreme focus on souping themselves up with rare and experimental technology to get that lightning edge. That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And so the perk that comes with this, your influence perk, is that you get to choose a driving specialization, even if you're not invested in the specialization. And then anytime that specialization comes into play, you get an edge on the skill test. So you're not rolling with specialization, but you get an edge on the skill test.
Okay.
So you'll want to on your character sheet under perks, you want to write edge on. For right now, I would say edge on driving specialization, and then put like a blank because you can choose that later once you know what you want that to be.
Gotcha.
There are suggested driving specializations in the book, but there might be something that once you really do a deep dive into fleshing out the rest of your character, once we're done with all of these choices, you might choose something pretty specific. So put a blank there just so you know that you need to. You don't get it on every driving specialization, just that one. Okay, so that's your influence. You don't have a
I like that.
You don't have a secondary, unless you want one. But I think this fits you really.
I think this is really perfect for her.
Yeah. So, but now, just to note for everybody watching, especially those who have gone through character creation for Power Rangers or even G.I. Joe, the hang-ups for Transformers aren't attacked. They are. I'm speaking over myself, but there is a list of hang-ups that you can choose from, and each influence gives you a few that would go with it. So, for example, for Racer, if it was your second one, your potential hang-ups are impulsive, mode attachment, or whimsical. And then you just go down to those 3 choices, the listing of them, read them all, and you can choose one. There may be another influence that also has impulsive, for example. And you choose which one. And actually, impulsive is good for you. So if you wanted to take a second one, that would probably be your hang-up.
Yeah, that would be pretty perfect.
Right there in your description. So, but now we have our influence chosen, right? It's chosen. We are now going to move to step 4, which is choosing your origin. Yes, thank you for putting your influence right there on your character sheet. Okay, origin. So, like we discussed earlier, your origin is your alt mode, right? This is essentially your chassis. This is how you blended in when you arrived on Earth. It can look however you want it to look. You said you wanted her to be red, right? You wanted her to look like a motorcycle. And it also does affect your bot mode. But it also gives you specific details about your character build. And your origin is going to give you an essence score increase. And then obviously that then gives you a related skill rank as your origin skill. And then it's going to give you your starting health, and your languages and your origin benefit, which is basically a perk that's specific to your origin choice. So I am going to now go to the origins chapter, which is chapter 4 for everybody playing along. And we do have a lot to choose from. I'm thinking because you want to look like a motorcycle and you are a racer, that I guess a champion class would be pretty cool. Those are all the race cars. So if you're going to be like a racing motorcycle, I think that a racing motorcycle fits champion class. We have other classes for our ultimates, for our origins, which are, things like the cutters, which are the boats, or seekers, which are planes.
Okay.
We have things that like cover tanks and big rigs and things that are not vehicles. But I think champion class fits pretty well. But let's read the description and make sure it's what you like.
Okay.
So champion class is this. Sports cars, luxury sedans, even limousines. Champion characters choose all modes that are sleek, fancy, and cool. So like you're going to be like this cool motorcycle. Although champion characters have a reputation for being egotistical, they can't help but gravitate towards what is beautiful because they are kin to all that is lovely to behold. Cybertronians on Earth choose champion alt modes more than any other origin, but this doesn't point to some need for Cybertronians to be the height of cool. Instead, it speaks specifically to the importance that beauty holds for the people of Earth. It's interesting. Some assume that the champion is ideal for leadership, as they are often well-spoken and witty, but in truth, they can be so full of themselves that others don't take them seriously. That sounds pretty good.
That's pretty accurate, yeah.
Now the essence score increase on the champion, though, is a social increase.
Interesting.
Even though they are, sports cars or whatever, you're getting, you have your racer as your influence, but this is going to increase your social. But that's actually kind of cool because you only put your 2 in the social, and that will kind of balance out your spread a little.
Yeah, actually.
Or we can try and find one that has something that has even more speed, but I think you're doing pretty well with your speed.
I think speed is pretty good. I think, that sounds good. Because even the 2 I have selected performance and streetwise, now that we've decided kind of more on the racer, I can already see where those things would go directly towards that lore-wise.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
well,
like
so
that.
Then we're going to do your essence score increase then. So increase your social essence by 1. And you're getting this from this choice, your origin choice. So now you have a 3, and now the origin skill associated with this origin, with the champion, is either persuasion or streetwise.
Oh, perfect.
So your thoughts do not betray you. It is perfect for streetwise. You do have a streetwise already. You can take another.
Yep.
Or you can take your persuasion. You're going to take another streetwise. I think that's a good choice. All right, perfect. So now those match, and we are going to give you a starting health of 3. So right there in the center top, you see that? Yep, you found it right there. In the center top is your 3 health. And then up on the top right, yes, please fill out champion. I always forget to tell this step. I do it when I'm filling out my character sheets, but I don't know. Okay, so on the top right of your character sheet, you'll see languages. So every Cybertronian speaks Cybertronian. So we're going to write Cybertronian right there. Sweet. And then you also get an automatic adopted Earth language. So when you arrived on Earth, the first language you heard is your adopted Earth language. So it depends on where you landed. You can choose whatever you want. It's for your backstory. What language do you speak?
I think we're going to go English.
Okay. So you know Cybertronian, you know English, and then champions get 1 additional language for every 3 points of social you possess. Look at that. You just got to your 3 social. You can choose 1 more language.
We're gonna go with Japanese.
Okay. Oh, I wonder what kind of motorcycle you're going to be.
Yes. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Love it. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, that's so awesome. This game is so fun. Okay, so now you get an origin benefit, and the champion origin benefit is called I Know a Bot. So go to the second page and under perks, because this is a perk, it's an origin perk. The next line, write I Know a Bot, and that's to remind you of what it does. You can put some shorthand here. I always like to write out exactly what my perks do on a separate piece of paper in a journal that I'm using, my notes, or in the notes section, or if it doesn't fit, if I'm writing it out with a pencil, if I'm being dangerous, on the back of my character sheet. But this is what I Know a Bot does. You have friends in high places. You have friends in low places too. Oh, this goes with the streetwise very well. Yeah, I love this. Whether they be Cybertronians, Earthlings, or some other alien peoples, you make friends wherever you go. You can spend an Energon point to declare that you have a previously positive relationship with an NPC. This can be an enemy. Although this is not likely to change their objectives, they may still go easy on you or secretly help you with one of your goals. So Energon points are exclusive to Transformers Roleplaying Game, and they work a little bit like the power points do in Power Rangers.
Okay.
So this is your personal Energon that you get to spend on things. So you can at any point during the game, when your game master says, "Oh, this person in an alleyway or whatever it is," you can say, "Oh yeah, I know that guy." Spend your Energon point, and now the game master has to say, "Oh hey," and we haven't named you yet, but whatever your name is, "Hey, whatever your name is, I remember you," and maybe that'll work out to your benefit. All right, well, cool. That's a cool one. All right, what else does Champion give you? It gives you your movement, your speed. This is different than your essence score speed. This is your actual movement. So above the center of your character sheet, you have your movement right there. And in bot mode, this is 40 feet. So you can bot 40 feet, and then on the next line, you want to put in your alt mode. Okay, alt. Your character kind of should go in there. Hey, we're playtesting the fillable sheets right now. You need to add a line in there. Perfect. In your alt mode, you will have 60 feet of ground movement. So when you're changing to that motorcycle, you're going much faster.
Gotcha.
You can move along farther.
Cool.
And so this gives you a lot more details that you can write in your notes, but your size as a bot is large. Your size as in alt mode is long. Basically, it's the exact same thing. You're either standing up or you're laying down. You're long.
Right.
And then it gives you things like your fire points, and for bot mode, you get something called fine motor. The additional joints and opposable digits gained in bot mode allow you to use tools. Right, so when you're in bot mode, you can pick things up with your hands, use tools, and you can't do that when you're in your alt mode. Right. You convert into alt mode because you're a motorcycle. And when you're in alt mode, this aerodynamic shape limits how easily you can interact with the world around you. You can't use skills that require the articulation or precision, such as athletics and finesse in alt mode. But you can use the acrobatics, which is really
Sweet.
good. And you get special attacks of ram, you get your driving skill, and you get your special attack. I'm sorry, your special attack is ram. It uses your driving skill, and it gives you range of reach. So basically anything you can hit with your ram, and it will do 1 blunt damage. So that's all written down under your origins. You can always look that up. Again, I always like to write that down. You can write this special attack down right on the character sheet where it says attack. You're going to get it. I'll all of the origins that are presented in the book are going to get a special attack in their alt mode.
Gotcha.
So I would fill that out there. So you can say ram. Yep. And then your range is reach, which means anything right next to you, because you're ramming into it. And then your attack is your driving skill, which you have that D2 that you chose. Right? Well, you can just write D2 right there, plus D2.
Right.
That is your driving. And then your damage is 1 blunt damage. And the alternate is you can trip. By ramming into somebody, you can actually trip them instead. So let's say you're driving and you're a motorcycle and you're going along and you want to use your ram attack and you're like gonna run right into a Decepticon's legs like they're in bot mode. You can ram them in the ankles.
Sweet.
Off their knees, I guess. So that's what you get for being a champion. And we are done with origins. Next is role. So that's our third pillar of character creation, right? We have our influence we've done, our origin we've done, now we have our role. So roles in Transformers are a lot like in G.I. Joe. We have role focuses as well. So we're going to first choose our role and then the focus, which is kind of like a sub-role. That doesn't exist in Power Rangers, so it's slightly more complicated, but not too bad. So your role is, just like in anything else, it's the archetypal position that your character fulfills in your team, right? You're on a team of heroic Autobots, you said. And so this is what your role is on the team. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Right.
And every character gets the following benefits. You get a shift up to your infiltration skill test when you're in your alt mode. So when you're in a motorcycle, you get a shift up, which is really great for you because you didn't take your infiltration. So what that means is that when you're trying to do something stealthy like that, you're not going to roll with your snag. Yay!
Solid.
You're going to roll with a D2 instead. You don't mark that in your skill ranks though, because you don't want to mess up the whole bubble count.
Right.
But this is something that you're going to want to write in your notes on the second page of your character sheet. You will also get a shift up by 2 if the alt mode is appropriate to the environment. Now your alt mode is champion class, and so maybe if you're sneaking into a very fancy motorcycle shop, you'd be able to infiltrate that.
Oh yeah, easily.
If I was a game master, I would say, oh, absolutely, like you can totally sneak into that or hide. Like if you're hiding in your alt form until all the humans go away, like you would blend right in, and I would 100% give you the shift by 2, right? So that's what you get for that. You also get immunity to any carbon-based diseases. So you can't get the flu because you're a robot.
Right.
But you are affected by electromagnetic damage and any viruses that affect machines. So computer viruses are fair game, but you can't catch a common cold.
Gotcha.
Or the measles or anything else that might happen, which could come into play if you have an evil villain out there that is doing something nefarious to the humans. That wouldn't affect you.
Right.
Okay, and then you get standard issue Autobot equipment. We're going to cover equipment in another video in the future, but there's lots of equipment for Transformers, but you'll get your standard issue stuff for that, and then you get something called Rollout, right? So Rollout is your perk. So under perks on your second page, you want to write Rollout, and what this means is when you roll for initiative, if you're not surprised, you can choose to convert to your alt mode before combat begins without needing to spend an action, which is pretty cool because converting does use up an action, which is determined by your speed. I mean, you're pretty fast, so you're always going to have your standard action, your movement, and a couple of free actions. But you started out that fast, which is good. But this saves you one of those right then and there. So if you really need to be a motorcycle and get out of Dodge, for example, like you can do that as long as you're not surprised.
Gotcha.
And hopefully those skill ranks in your alertness will keep you from being surprised.
That
right?
would be the hope, yes.
Yeah. Okay, and then your Cybertronian perk, and we haven't even chosen your role yet. This is just what you get for just being an Autobot, basically. You get something called Hardcore, which means when you take enough damage to be defeated, you can spend an Energon point. We talked about Energon points already. Actually, with your personal points to spend on things, to instead lose a limb, but otherwise ignore the effect of the attack. So instead of becoming defeated for that one final hit that would take you down, you could choose to lose a limb. You can use Hardcore as long as you have the Energon points and limbs to spare. So if you're in combat and you have 4 Energon points, you could technically lose all 4 limbs before you're out of time, and then you are defeated. Remember, in Essence 20 games, being defeated does not mean that your character dies. It just means that you're taken out of combat, and something else might happen to you. Maybe something worse than that. You don't know if you're taking capture or whatever it is. But Hardcore is pretty cool because you can choose to lose that limb, and maybe it stays off forever and that's part of your character. Or maybe you are taken to a healer, a tech person that's going to heal you right up and reattach it later. But you will not have the rest of whatever the long encounter or adventure mission that you're in. So, I don't know. Maybe it's better to be defeated. I don't know. Up to you. Okay, so now, very long-winded. I'm so excited about Transformers, obviously. We're going to choose your role.
Okay.
Right, so, everybody following along, let's go to the roles chapter, which is chapter 5. Roll out, get it? That's so cute.
That's great.
And we have a lot to choose from here. Okay, we have a gunner. That could be a good thing. Let's keep that one in mind. It's, you have the arsenal that your team relies on. You provide cover fire, direct fire. A gunner adapts to combat and reflects that in how they switch their attack style. I think that could be a maybe.
That's a maybe for sure.
And then the gunner focus options are gunslinger and sharpshooter. That seems kind of more focused though.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, running into the action kind of thing.
Yeah.
Let's keep that as a possibility. The Mode Master, so Mode Master actually can take on additional alt modes, which is really cool. And they use that to keep changing as they're doing stuff. But I feel like that's also more of somebody that would use infiltration more. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, it could be a maybe.
In that one too. There is a scientist. Probably not you.
Nah.
I love how I'm making these decisions. It's like, probably not you. You're no scientist. I mean, you didn't put a lot in smarts, right? So,
it just wouldn't make sense.
And you put 0 in technology, so I'm assuming, and 0 in science.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you're not going to be a scientist.
No.
But we're going to skip over that one. So that would be, you could be a medical officer or a gadgeteer as a scientist. That's the focus options for that. There's a scout. Again, doesn't seem as impulsive. Scouts kind of have to be in and be patient.
Yeah, I don't think she has much patience.
Patient is she? I don't know. Okay, let's see what else. Warrior.
Ooh.
So the warrior is kind of cool. They go in for... Oh, here. This is the description of warrior. Even though war moved further away from hand-to-hand combat with every evolution, warriors did not evolve in the same direction. A special kind of soldiers, warriors prefer engaging with the enemy face-to-face. The others call this behavior monsters. Warriors scoff Anyone who can pull a trigger or push a button from a safe distance is just as responsible for casualty counts, if not more. Warriors at least give each other a fighting chance. We have some examples here, and RC is one of those examples. So, and I kind of, not necessarily personality-wise, but like,
right.
I don't know. That seems kind of good for you. Let's see what the role-focused choices are for Warrior. There's Sentinel. So the Sentinel is more like self-defense, waiting for an opportunity. But the other one is Wrecker. So listen to this. They spend so much time in melee. Hold on, they rush in for their attack. Like this is you. I think you.
Yeah, she's definitely the type that before anything happens, she sees the enemy and she's just gonna run in.
Oh, look at this. Warriors get their first level perk is something called, oh, I just lost it. No. Oh, here, I found it. Because I'm scrolling. Their first level perk is called Warrior Rush. Listen to this. You know your place on the battlefield and rush to get there as soon as possible. In the first turn of combat, double your movements until the beginning of your next turn. That does sound like you.
That's perfect.
Okay, perfect. All right, so under role, you're going to put Warrior. And then put a dash because you have your symbol. And it's Wrecker.
Oh, that's so perfect.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so now the Warrior gives you an increase to your strength essence.
Ooh.
So that's going to go to 4 because you're going to go in for like melee combat, right?
Right.
And so, and then also your smarts is going to go up by 1. So this is actually making you very balanced. Now you have a 4, 4, 4.
Yeah, actually.
Pretty good. Okay, so now your role skills that you choose from, you can train or specialize in 2 of these skills, 1 for each of your essence increase. So it's for your strength that you went up, you can choose either alertness, brawn, or conditioning. Oh, wait a second. Alertness, that's not right.
That would be smart.
That's smart. Oh, they put us in alphabetical order. Sorry.
Okay.
Brawn, I got it. Sorry. Brawn, conditioning, might. That makes more sense.
Yeah. Ooh.
So, brawn is how much you can like lift things and drag things or push things. Might is you're fighting. You are a wrecker now. You're going to go in for melee combat. You might want that extra rank in might. Conditioning is going to add. Give you 1 to your health. Oh, when we did your conditioning, we did not add it to your health.
Oh, so that would be a 4?
Yeah, it's a 4.
Gotcha.
We would have double checked it at the end anyway, but
right.
Just you. Yeah. Okay, so
I think might get up to a D4.
Yeah, especially if you're going to be going in and fighting, you want to be able to hit.
Yeah.
Perfect. So for smarts, your choices are alertness, culture, or survival.
I'm thinking, would this be a good time to add a specialization to alertness?
You definitely can.
Because I'm leaning towards that. I'm thinking, is there something that would be good? Because I'm thinking she would be really good about being alert in combat or racing situations.
I think a visual alertness is really important.
Visual. That would make sense.
There are certain types of characters that would be really cool to have like a hearing based, or even like investigation is an alertness specialization as well if you want to be a researcher.
That makes sense.
But being able to see and spot things, especially if you're going fast, seems pretty good. Yeah,
that's perfect.
Cool. So you fill in that little bubble, and you can just say visual, or you can say perception, however you want. If you write something like visual, and I think this is really important for people to know because there's no set specialization list. We do have some recommendations and samples for you to choose from, but you can really specialize in anything you can think of, as long as your game master approves and it's not completely absurd what you're trying to do. You can write whatever you want. So you wrote down visual.
Mm-hmm.
When a game master is running an adventure that calls for a skill test, an alertness skill test, in parentheses it says perception or something like that as the specialization, they should know that visual means that. If it's a synonym for the word, it should mean that, and it should apply. It's the same thing that I was just talking about for survival, being able to apply things. This is even more so. So just because you've named something very specific that, if it means the same thing, it should apply 100%.
Gotcha.
It's the meaning behind, it's the intent behind the mechanic that is important,
right.
Not the specific word that you're choosing. So that's perfect. Okay, so now we have your role skills picked out.
Mm-hmm.
We will go to your equipment and qualifications. So as a warrior, you are going to be trained in limited and restricted armor upgrades. Right now, we're not doing the whole equipment choosing thing in this initial character creation, but you will be choosing your weapons and your armor. And when you do that, this tells you what you're allowed to choose.
Gotcha.
And so for you, you're allowed limited and restricted. I would put that in the notes on the back or near your weapons choices just as a note. But again, it's always going to be right there in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And also for weapons, you're trained in all weapons. And you're qualified in light weapons. And that's great because you have a D4 in light.
Yes.
So that will really well. But now, we already said you're choosing a wrecker role focus. And the role focus is going to give you even more stuff. So because of the role focus, instead of the role just giving you 3 more essence points, it's your role focus is actually going to give you 1. Your role selection give you 2. Role focus is going to give you 1. So it's actually for Transformers more so than Power Rangers. There's more customization happening.
Gotcha.
Here. So for your wrecker, your essence increase is strength again.
Cool.
So you're going to get another essence increase in strength at your first level. So let's move that to a 5 now. You are very strong. And your focus skill choices are either brawn, conditioning, or might.
Okay. I
so do you want
think
to be harder, or do you want to be healthier, or do you want to be a little bit of stuff?
Let's go for healthier. Can't hurt to have more health.
I agree. Especially since you're going to probably be the one that's getting hit first because you're rushing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Right. So since you've added your conditioning, you want to add 1 more to your health. So now you have a health 5. That's perfect. You took your perk, warrior rush. Oh no, we read it about it. So now we need to do it. So on the back of your character sheet, under perks, so next line, you're going to want to write warrior rush. So just remember, warrior rush, once again, you know your place on the battlefield and rush to get there as soon as possible. I love this for you. On the first turn of combat, double your movements until the beginning of your next turn. So if you're okay, this is a really cool combo, because if you're in your alt mode, where at the beginning of your initiative, if you're not surprised, you can turn into your alt mode, and your alt mode gives you 60 feet of movement, and then you have your warrior rush. Like, if you see that enemy coming over the hill, and they're 100 feet away, you could instantly convert into alt mode and double your movement and basically be there while everybody else is just like making their plan.
That's so her. It's so perfect.
Yeah, it's really perfect the way described. I love it. Okay. And that is it for first level. So step 6 is describing your character. So we have all of the mechanical bones decided. We did your essences, we did the influences, we did the origin, we did your role. And so you basically just need to like flesh out your personality, which is something you can think about. You want to think about exactly what you look like. You
Right.
want to draw a picture. I love seeing everybody's pictures.
Me too, yes.
Like, it's been so cool seeing like everybody's character creations.
Yes, they're so awesome.
So you can think about that and think about what your name is going to be. But what we want to do right now is do all of your calculations.
Right.
Now that all of your essence scores are set in place. So let's do that really quickly. So your strength is a 5, which makes your toughness a 15. So if somebody's going to try to hit you, they need to beat a 15 in order to damage you.
Gotcha.
Right? And so then on that second line, this is your calculations for all of your other stuff. You know what? We did not choose your additional equipment and armor, but for right now, before we choose that, if you are going to add armor, that would be put there for an additional 4. But none of your perks or anything else is giving you additional toughness right now. So right now, put your essence score. You want to put that 5 there, so it's still 15. You don't have armor on right now, so it's still just a 15.
Gotcha.
So your speed, you're going to add your essence in. 10 plus 4 is 14. Again, your perks right now, I'm not doing anything to your speed. Your perks help your movement, which can be confusing with speed, right? But it's not. That's your movement. That's how many feet you move versus how many actions you can take.
Right.
And so none of your perks actually affect your speed in that way.
Gotcha.
You don't have any other bonuses that we got, right, that affect that give you an additional speed or anything additional to your evasion. So your evasion is still 14. Remember, unlike in Power Rangers, we don't have like a morphed form that changes. Your evasion and your toughness is going to be the same no matter which mode you're in. So this calculation is always going to add up to whatever your toughness, evasion, willpower, and cleverness is. So you don't have to think about, oh, what's my morphed version? That doesn't exist in Transformers.
Gotcha.
And so, so same thing for smarts. You have the plus 4 essence at the bottom, so it's 10 plus 4. We don't have anything in perks or bonus yet. As you level up, these things will change. So you have a 14 in your willpower, and your social, same thing. So all of your stuff is basically affecting your shifts and specialization and things like that. So, so your cleverness is a 13 because you're adding 10 plus. You always add 10 plus whatever your essence were for your base defense.
Right.
And then if you have some extra stuff in there, did you put something in your bonus? Well, don't put it in the bonus part. It's just your cleverness is going to stay stacked.
Oh, I gotcha. I see.
Bonus for some reason, you put it there and it would total into that little space.
Gotcha, okay.
Again, because we don't have the morphed form like that.
Right. A little bit different.
Yeah, it's a little different. Same on your strength. I just don't want you to look at it later and say, oh, I have a 15 bonus.
Would that be the same for armor too? That's 0, right?
Right now it is, but that's because you haven't chosen it.
Right. Got it.
But when you do, then you'll put something there, and then that will change your toughness. Whatever that total is, will change your toughness.
Okay.
But aside from that, your character is done.
Yay!
Now, have you thought of a name yet?
Oh, I'm really bad at coming up with names, so I have to think about that one.
Maybe we can open it up to chat.
Ooh, yeah, chat. Name suggestions.
As they're watching this.
Please give them to me.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, I'm so excited about this. I love this character.
I do too. I'm actually really excited.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show, I keep saying this every single time. You can really make anything you want. So you had a basic idea, and you have never even looked at this material.
I have not.
Right?
No.
This is brand new. I mean, nobody really has. I don't, the writer that I have, the editor that's really looked at this so far. Everybody getting a sneak peek right now. All right. Well, everybody watching, I hope that this was informative. If you have any questions, make sure to put them in chat or put them in our Discord channel or on our Facebook group. We are here to help. This book is not out yet, but it will be soon, and I hope that you have just as much fun building out your characters as we did today. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of Renegade Con, and we will see you later.